2.5 weeks until the draft kicks off. Will that save the project? If you're getting to watch this video right now, that means it's been about 2 months since current time when I'm recording this, and my plan all worked out. So this Pro Day set I'm currently building, I have another idea of something specific to shoot on it. I got these generic gray hats. I'm gonna get tracking markers embroidered on them. And at Pro Day, I'm gonna get a matching shot of all of LSU's NFL prospects putting on the hat in front of the set, and I'll be able to use the tracking markers to put the NFL team logos on there. So I'll have that prepped for all 32 NFL teams. From there, I'll merge that with a graphic that Lindsay's making for every pick, 1 through 32, all 7 rounds, all 32 teams for every single guy, but it all starts with these hats. So first step, I gotta get them embroidered and then do some testing. Kept saying over and over, it needs to be a digital file. Well, a JPEG is a digital file. So now I'm gonna head to a legit embroidery shop and we'll see if I'm in luck there. Imagine a hat that was made for motion tracking. That's what we have here. Those will be used to track the front of the hats in After Effects. That way I can put the NFL team logos on there. Time to do the first test of the hat, see if it's all gonna come together for the NFL draft. First camera test, have the camera set up, a stool, built-in lights, and of course, the hat. Alright, so there's our first test. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that clip it, color it, and then bring it into After Effects, and that'll tell us if this plan is gonna come together. This gives me a lot of confidence going into the shoot next week that we'll be able to do this with all our guys back for Pro Day and use these assets and keep these assets a secret until the draft when we're ready for any scenario, ready to go. Stoked that it's all gonna work. Shoot day, we have the hats ready to go. So the plan is we'll get a shot of every guy putting on the hat, motion track the logo onto the front of it, their motion tracker marks. We'll do video of that in front of the light wall. Gus is gonna get some photos of it in front of that too, as well as in front of a big in front of a big NFL cutout that we have down the hall, and then we'll put it all together for the draft. All right, we were able to get all the guys to come through wearing the hat. We did both some detail shots of it, their hand on the brim, stuff like that, as well as a matching slider shot for every single guy. So from here, I'm gonna color those clips, move them into After Effects. I'll just check in when I get to all that point, but we got all the footage we needed to make this effect happen. All right, it is April 8th. It is about 2.5 weeks until the draft kicks off, and it's time to get started on editing. Step number 1 is I'm gonna pull selects of the footage, 1 shot per guy with the hat on or putting the hat on that I'm gonna use for the final draft animation. I'll pick the shot, I'll color it, and I'm gonna export all of those as a QuickTime file. I'm gonna keep everything working at 4K, 60 frames per second for now. And that means later on in After Effects when I go to do the tracking and stuff, I can do any time remapping or anything like that, any punch-ins there that I want to do. Like I said, step 1, pull selects, color it, export it. Here we go. All right, step 2 now is to do all of the motion tracking of the hats. I've got all the clips loaded into After Effects, and I'm going to be using Mocha Pro to do all the tracking. That's a planar tracking app. There's a basic version that comes built into After Effects, and then there's a pro version that does a little bit more with mesh tracking and whatnot. I just learned it 2 days ago, but on initial test, it was really fantastic. So I'm gonna go through and track all of them, and then we'll keep rocking and rolling from there. So I'm gonna go through, track all of them, and I'm just gonna put a placeholder on the hat for now. Not worry about any of the cropping or scaling or speed ramps, just get everything tracked. Happened way easier than I expected. Mocha Pro is incredible. I'm a believer, I'm obsessed. But now it's on to step 4, which is making clean plates of all the shots. Just painting out the 4 tracking markers on their hat, starting off just by hand, some masking, some rotoscoping, and we'll go from there. Now all of the clean plates are made. That took a lot longer than I expected. It was kind of a pain with some of them because the brim of the hat comes up and blocks out. The hands are blocking it. The motion blur. There's just a lot of moving parts, and so painting out all of those little tracking markers ended up taking a while. This current idea we're working on is the best draft idea as a whole that we've come up with so far. Going back to the 2020 draft when Joe Burrow got picked number 1 by the Bengals, but if there was any last minute trades or anything like that, we were screwed. That was the only option. I also have a behind the scenes if you want to see how that came together. 2021 when Jamar Chase got picked in the first round, I had those projects set up as motion graphics templates in Premiere, so I had to hit a drop down and export the proper one by the team he got picked. And we had that for all the guys, but it still took a last minute export step, and you had to be watching live in order to be ready to go. Fast forward to this year, having these short video clips already exported for every single team means we're ready to drop it whenever they get picked. Now we did decide not to include the round and the pick number, make it super clean, super minimalistic, just a short video clip, which is nice for my exporting time because it takes it from exporting 6,000-ish videos per person, because it was going to be 7 rounds of 32 teams of 32 picks to be prepared for every single situation. Now it's just 32 per guy plus 32 that I guess will have the undrafted free agent notation. So 64 per guy by 16 people, and that's it. They'll all be exported before the first day of the draft. So now we're on to step 3 of the creation process. I'm going to kind of combine step 3 and 4. Step 3 is to get all of the NFL logos loaded into the project so I can see what space they take up. And then step 4 is to mask out anything that's in the foreground. So like I mentioned, the hands and the brim, if they go in front of that logo, we'll mask them out and bring them back to the front. The reason I'm bringing the logos in first is so I know what area needs to be masked. I don't want to be masking something that's on the very corner of the image if it doesn't even get blocked by any of the logos. We'll just do only the spaces that actually get overlapped by the logos. Yo, Lindsay, our designer, was just gatekeeping some serious sauce. She had cutout logos of every NFL team that were actually cut out from a hat. So they have all the embroidery lines, they have all the stitching. They just look real. They look like they were on a hat because they were. So that's where we get into step 5. I'm gonna go back through all the logos and get the new NFL logos in. These are the new cutout ones from Lindsay that have all the textures and are the real hat logos. Moving quickly on to step 6. Now that we've got the new logos in, it's time to match the lighting and textures of before. So each logo is going to get a slight drop shadow to make it look like it's 3D off the face of the hat. And then I'm also going to copy the clean plate of the hat above it, track it to it, and then set that as an overlay so that the lighting on the logo matches the lighting on that. You'll see once it all comes together. It's not working. Step 7 was going to be do all the retiming so that I could do the merge from there. But for whatever reason, when I do the retiming of the After Effects composition, the track shows some wobble and whatnot when I slow it down, versus when I export the composition and then do the retiming, it stays perfectly locked on. I don't get it. Theoretically, it should be pulling from the exact same data, but for whatever reason, they're not. So I guess the solution that we're gonna try is I'm gonna export every single guy full 4K 60 for every single team. Then I'll be able to import those back in and then do the retiming in a second merge from there. But it'll be working off an exported file, so will that save the issue? Will that save the project? Back in business. It exported 321 of them, which isn't all of them, but it ran out of space at that point. And then tonight, I can finish the export of the rest of them. Ain't that right? All right, next step, now that we're back on track. Is step number 8. That's where I'm going to go ahead and import those renders all back into a new project. Position, time remapping, scaling, all of those effects, as well as cropping it into the Instagram size. We're making all of these a 4x5 for Instagram, the 1080 by 1350, the slightly larger Instagram size. I'm also considering adding some lens flares, and one idea I have in my head is I could use the team logo, scale that way up, set that to hue, and that would give me the lens flares that match the team logo, which I think would be a really cool addition, aspect, effect to make it even more special for the specific team. Taking it from the raw clip to the final export. 4 days, 5 days away from the first round. I'm feeling pretty good. We're closing in on the first round, and I'm really liking how things are going to come together. So time to just bring the project home. And we are now on the final step of the project. Step number 9, which is to merge the files and export all of them for every single team. So for reference of what's about to happen, it'll all be kind of run by an Excel file using comps from spreadsheets. It'll take all of the retimed scaled effects templates for each guy. It'll drop every single team's pre-rendered clip in there for the individual guy. It'll add in the light leak that's colored to the specific team, do all the scaling, position, effects, all of that stuff, and it'll have each of those as an individual composition. It'll do that for every single guy, for every single team, which is 512 files, but then it'll do it again without the draft logo in case they're undrafted free agents for a total of 1,024 files. At that point, I just hit export, let it sit overnight, and that's a wrap. Alright, like I said, time for the final render. Do that here in the guest bathroom so that nobody messes with it and they get charged. It's on a hard surface. Make sure there's plenty of airflow underneath the whole time. So I think I'm gonna just do a compilation of some of the final shots, some of the final exports, some of the replies on social media. If you like this kind of content, be sure to check out the other videos on my channel. But other than that, thank you for coming on this journey with me. I'm so stoked to continue experimenting with this technology in the future. I have some big ideas, so stay tuned.
The Arizona Cardinals select B.J. Ojulari, linebacker, LSU.
Anthony Bradford, guard, LSU.
Jay Ward, defensive back,